Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey man, think we're ready to come online for a new day of streaming. I think. If not, I apologize. Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Vencabot. Game dev action, I guess. My name is David. Let's tweet out real quick. Let's see here. All right. Tweet is sent out. I'm going to actually move my mouse and keyboard over now so I can get some stuff on this actual screen you're seeing. Coolio. All right, so first of all, let's take inventory. I'm actually going to mess with my volume here in case things go awry. I know, it's loud. Let me fix that. All right, so let's take some inventory, shall we? You guys know I have a terrible memory. I'm not exactly sure where we left off last time. We have our Python, documentation here for, solving problems we run into. We're going to definitely run into some problems. We always do. We also have, what else we got over here? We've got a whole bunch of different Vim windows. One is our notes, because I want to take some notes here. These are the notes we took last time. I also have a Battleship server script. Now, this script is where all of our game logic is right now, and it's mad ugly, like mad ugly. Today, I would like to go through and refactor this into more discrete objects. Right now, we have a Battleship server that does fucking everything. The server just does everything, and it's really hard to manage, really ugly. I want to kind of make that a little bit cleaner, as well as squash some bugs today. We also have a Battleship client, which right now is only a simple text client, kind of like Telnet, really. All it does is receive text and send text. All it does, very simple. I would like to make this more complex today. Take some of the complexity out of the server and add it to the client. Right now, the server handles all the drawing, and that makes no sense. Ideally, in the future, I would like for this server to connect to, let's say, a web-based client, right? Or a graphical client, or whatever you want. That being the case, the server should send out JavaScript, JSON signals. And it should be the client's job to format it for whatever, display it's using. In this case, this client is using the command prompt. So it should handle all the ASCII drawings, right? It should handle the drawing of the board for you and all that kind of stuff. And the messages, the printed messages. So yeah, this is hopefully by the end of today, this client will be much more involved. And it's going to handle all the drawing and user-side messages, right? The user-side stuff. Whereas the server is going to start communicating with the client using JSON messages, and that's about it, right? Ideally, it shouldn't be drawing nothing. It should just rely on the client to do all that stuff. And we also have a whole bunch of command windows here. We have a Battleship server window we're going to be running the server at. We have a Battleship client, the first client, and we have a Battleship client, second client. So we got David and David here are two players of the game. So, I believe that the script is working as of last time. It's pretty much a fully running game, as I recall. There are quite a few bugs. There's a lot of ways to crash the game. It doesn't do a lot of error checking before it tries some shit. So it'll definitely easy to crash it. Also, it doesn't have a way to win the game yet. You can destroy all your enemy ships, and the game just runs forever, right? So, ideally, of course, when you destroy the enemy ships, it should end the game. It should say, hey, you won, dude. You're a boss. You're a champion. You're godlike. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. So where do I want to start today? I think I kind of want to start with unplugging the server. No, excuse me. Let's start breaking up this this server into discrete objects. Right. I want to give more responsibilities to the player and that kind of thing. So here's what. Let's open up our notes here. And I'm just going to go down here and make a entry for today's date. This is going to be 13/18. We're just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Kind of anal about having 17 dashes there. Okay, so, today, our first order of business will be to break up the Battleship server object responsibilities into more discrete objects. Let's take inventory of what sorts of objects we might want. So we want like a player, right? We want like a player. And they need to have, like a username, ID. They're going to need... So what do they have right now, anyway? Let's check what they have right now. We have a Battleship player, and he's got... oh, yeah, his connection is attached to him. Is that what we want? I don't think so, right? That doesn't make any sense for the player to know that stuff. It doesn't need to know that stuff. The server should handle that stuff, right? So maybe the server will have a list of players, and they're going to have maybe some tuples where they have their connection and address and the player. Right? In the abstract, I feel like the player doesn't really need to have... It doesn't need to know its own connection and address. Let's actually not have that anymore. So excuse me, let's go back to our notes here. It's going to need like an ally field. Well, it strikes me. Actually, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. I've been wondering if we should have a ally field and an enemy field for each player. Because we can't send the entire enemy's... let's put it this way. We can't send the enemy's ally field to the client for them to draw the enemy's board. If we did that, the client would know where the enemy's ships were placed. I thought a solution might be to, save an enemy field onto each player, which is very similar to the enemy's ally field, except that there's no ship location data. But it strikes me that perhaps the solution would be to not even bother sending an enemy field to the client, but rather to just tell the client if their attack hits or misses. Let the client draw the board, right? That kind of makes sense, right? You don't need to send the client, an updated map every single time they try to fire. Just try and send them, just tell them if it missed or hit, and then the client can, put the peg on there. Graphically, anyway. That would allow the client to do other things too. Like, each client could maybe draw on the board, and the server wouldn't care, right? The server would not care. All the server cares about is if shit hits or misses. Kind of like that idea. So there'd be like a message for when you would send the message to the server, like a fire message, and you give it a coordinate, and then it would respond with whether or not that hit or missed. All right. I can live with that. Then you place the peg yourself. Okay, so yeah, so we need but each player has to have an ally field so we know where their ships are. Right? In fact, does the server even need to save, does the server need to save the ally boards hits and misses? Like if the enemy fires on you, do we need to save Yeah, we do. Yeah. The server will use that data to prevent clients, for instance, from firing on the same spot over and over to reduce a ship's HP, right? That's really all we need it for, though, you would think, right? Yeah. Okay, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. So every player only needs one board, right? They don't need to save the enemy's boards. Let the client handle that. The client can, save the enemy's boards. All we need to know is one board for each player. Okay, I can live with that. All right, so we have a player. They have a username, an ID, and a field. Okay, I feel like the field doesn't need to have any logic of its own, right? We have ships. I think I kind of like the idea of having a ship as well. So let's go here to the notes. I'm going to actually slide this over here a little bit. I don't like that. I don't want to cover up the chat. All right, so let's actually move it right about, So we need a ship, right? The ship has a name, or a ship name. And a glyph. No. The glyph is handled by the client, right? Yeah, the glyph is handled by the client. Okay, I like that. We don't need a glyph anymore. Let the client worry about that. All right, and what else does it have so far? A ship size and an amount of health. Now, for now, the health is entirely based on the ship size, right? So we don't need to have health. We can add that in later if we want to change our rules of our game. No, because the health has to be declined. The health has to decline over time as it takes hits, right? Now, if you were playing traditional Battleship exclusively, instead of having a size and health, you would have like some kind of array where you could determine which part of the ship had already been hit before, right? I think I like the idea of just having it have a size and HP. That's fine. Keep it simple. All right, so let's go back to our notes here. So it's going to have like size and HP. All right. I feel like the player, has the actual firing logic built into it. It'd be a method that takes another player as its argument. You fire on that player. You fire on the enemy player, and then there's logic involved for, getting the player's board and that kind of stuff. That makes sense to me. Like the player fires on another player. And there's ships that have health. Do we need a board object? Like, what would a board object do? Like, like a board object? Like, I feel like the board on the server side would deal with affixing pegs to itself. Right? So if you fire on somebody, you would call the board's method for affixing a peg at a certain location. Well, no, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the player can fix the pegs, not fucking rocket science. I really don't need a board object, right? I don't have a board object right now. I don't have any kind of board. The player's board can just be a two-dimensional array. That's basically what it is. I mean, we could make it more explicit. Instead of using all these tuples and stuff, we could actually use objects that, that save all that data in a more explicit manner. You know, let's do that actually, because I don't like to over-comment my code. I like to have things be ideally self-explanatory based on variable names and that kind of thing. I think it would make sense to have like a board object made up of tile objects, right? And then each tile could be flipped. You know, you have to peg each tile. I don't know. Like in that case, wouldn't the tile object then know if a boat was on it? So this is why my scripts always suck. I always get wrapped up in the minutia. Like a board object, hypothetically, would be an array. Well, I mean, what if instead of being an array, it was like a map, right? Like, what if it was a map instead of being an array? We'd have a shit ton of attributes for this object, right? It would essentially be a list anyway. But that'd be a huge number of attributes, right? That'd be 100 tiles if you had a 10 by 10 square. Yeah, let's just keep it a two-dimensional array. So we wouldn't need a board object necessarily. We would need just tile objects, right? Well, kind of like the idea of just having like a tile object, right? A tile, you know, it saves, the ship that's on it. You know, the ship that's on it, and it saves, its peg, whether it's a hit or miss or none. Kind of like that, because what do we already have? Right? It's kind of what we're using right now. If I show you guys my my server, we've got a lot of these tuples floating around. Where's my board logic? Generate map. We have these tuples floating around, right? This none. This tuple is not very self-explanatory. Like, what the hell is it? Right? I think I'd rather have a bunch of tiles, and then the tile has an attribute of whether it's a hit or not, right? And whether there's any ships on it. That kind of suits me better, I feel like. All right. So, and then we need a server. We definitely need a server, right? The server's job, it sends JSON messages to the client. Well, first of all, it handles maybe we should have a server that handles the nitty-gritty of the networking stuff. And maybe we should have like a game that contains a number of players, advances turns, and raises messages to the server. Like maybe the game has like a message queue. Like, it has a message queue that the server checks for at an interval and then flushes the messages out to the connected players. Yeah, okay. So all the game logic is handled by the game object. You know, the server handles the networking stuff. You know, for instance, it saves connected player IDs to, you know, socket connections. So, for instance, the game only cares about the usernames, not so much the IDs. Well, it has usernames and IDs, right? But then it raises the ID up to the server, and the server actually sends the JSON messages to people. Okay, I kind of like that, right? Let the server just handle the networking shit. Because the networking shit is complex enough as it is. We don't need to have that all be combined with the game logic. That way a server can have a number of games, right? So, for instance, you know, a server can manage a number of simultaneous games. Of Battleship, of course. Alright, kind of like that. So, anything else I want to consider before I start messing with this shit? Well, this is all server-side stuff. This is all server-side. Before I do anything too ham, you know, I feel like we need the client to be able to handle more messages, right? Like, for instance, let's say the game wants to prompt the player for something, and the server's only handling networking stuff, right? So how does it know to take a, you know, message from the client and hand it back to the game? Because the game's going to handle all that shit, right? So the game's going to convert that user's input into something that's based on a rule. So let's change this. It sends, you know, and receives JSON messages to or from the client, right? It handles all that shit. So a server has a number of games, right? Well, no, maybe the player can have his own socket connection that he's aware of, because that way, you know, the server can, I don't know. Because, for instance, I feel like maybe the player would need to be aware of his own game, right? And vice versa. This is a whole object-oriented problem, right? Like, the parent-child relationship, they're both aware of each other so that their own internal states can play with that kind of stuff. Because the server here is going to send a message to a client. It's going to receive that client, receive the message, but how does it know what game that message is supposed to go to? Right? It gets a connection on one of its sockets with it gets a message inside one. It receives a message on a socket. How does it say, send this message to the correct game? How does it know what game to send it to? It could do two things, right? It could pull through all of its saved games to try to find out which one has that player in it. But that seems like a lot of work, in terms of cycles. I guess the player should just know what game he's a part of. For instance, right now the player doesn't need to know who his enemy is, right? Because it's going to be the game is going to handle attacks and stuff. So maybe a game, I don't know, it's redundant, right? I don't like redundancy, but I also don't like wasting cycles to try and find, to query stuff. So the game has a number of players. Maybe each player also knows their parent game. Seems weird. Also at the same time, maybe the ship would need to know its tiles that it's occupying. That's a future thing. Let's not worry about that right now, though. I do want, one day I want to have the ability for ships to maybe move, sacrifice a turn to move a ship, something like that. And if a ship's going to be moving around, it probably needs to know where it's at. That's okay. Let's not worry about that for now. So I do feel like the player should know, it's a game. The player should know it's a game. That way we can easily find out. If we have a list of players, we can easily find out what game to send this information to. All right, so let's see here. So in other words, let's say that the the game periodically checks for new input from the server, right? So in other words, it has it has another. All right, let's reword this then. Let's go down here and say checks. Let's say it flushes each game's output queue and fills each game's input queue, right? Checks, so it has advances turns, and it has an output, a JSON message output queue. Well, yeah, it needs to have its own JSON messages, right? Right, the game should have its own JSON messages. It shouldn't rely solely on objects. Well, I mean, maybe the server should be able to convert objects to JSON. Yeah. So we need like a message object. All right, we need like a message object. It has a type, for decoding purposes. And then it has just everything else, right? A bunch of other attributes that would vary from message to message. Right, so basically a message object would just be an object that has a type, a message type. We don't want to use the word type, that's protected. Like a message type. And then it's got a bunch of other attributes. Once you know the message type, you can know what other attributes it has that you might need. And then, we can just convert that to JSON. So this one would, it would convert message objects to JSON. And then it would also, convert JSON back to message objects. All right. Pixel says, I also write code in Python. What's up, Pixel? Yeah, Python is God. It's my favorite language. But I'm not nowhere near as, experienced in languages as you are, Ryan. That's why I called you Jason. I hope I didn't. Yeah, nowhere near as experienced as you are in languages. I know, JavaScript, Java, C++, and Python. That's about it. All right, let's see. It has a JSON message output queue. No, it just has a, how about a message object output queue and input queue. Checks the input queue periodically. For Lisp. So tell me about Lisp, Ryan. How does Lisp differ from Python? I've never used Lisp before in my life. Mostly I've only ever used, like I said, C++, Java, JavaScript, Python and BASIC, of course. All right, so I'm pretty confident with this server-side shit. But it strikes me that if I'm going to be deleting all of my drawing code, like the code for drawing stuff, I'm going to need to... I shouldn't delete that. I should leave it here until I'm going to implement it in the client side. I don't want the server to handle the drawing anymore. The client should handle that. But I do have some pretty... I worked hard on this code to draw some shit. Oh boy, I'm about to recode a lot of this stuff. Like we got prompt strings and stuff. I'm not going to be doing any prompting anymore in text. It's going to be all through messages. And the client doesn't know how to handle it. So let me go back to my notes here. So, we have a problem. The intended end game for this project is to have, a bunch of Battleship variants based in the same code. The client would connect to the server and then request to start a game with a certain rule set. If each game type has different, messages, different types of messages it can send, how do we coordinate, the various message types to the server's rule sets? You know what? Let's not fucking worry about that right now. Let's just assume that the client knows how to parse the messages that the server is sending, and the server, or let's say, and the game knows how to parse the messages that the client is sending. If the client wants to play a game using a certain rule set, it has to know how to understand the messages. So in the future, I might want to solve that problem in a more flexible way, but let's not fucking worry about that for now. Has methods for flipping its peg. Well, that seems like it might be a little bit overkill, but I kind of like that idea. Like, tile, dot, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. No, how about this? How about has method for being fired on and returns hit or miss. How about returns hit, miss, and well, there's been hit before. We could do that too. They could say, it already has a peg. Or error on like a refire. Okay. So this should have a method, ship, has a method for taking a hit. But all it do is subtract from its HP, right? Like, I feel like you don't want to conceal that. and reduces HP of occupying ship. Kind of makes sense. You know, the tile gets fired on, and if it hits a hit, it subtracts the health from the ship. If you make it a method, you can include side effects. Yeah, I considered that too, Ryan, yeah. But it's like, is that, you know, premature? I don't know if there's probably a term for that, but it seems like because I don't need side effects right now, like, and I can imagine maybe one day needing side effects, but is that enough of a reason to make its own method? But that's what I thought right away, Ryan. I thought, well, I kind of want to, if it was a method, I could add in some side effects. That'd be cool. But I feel like maybe I'd rather just subtract the health for now and say, you know, if we need side effects later, we can make it into a method. So what's your stance, Ryan? Because again, my feeling is that you can include side effects, sure, but also it's kind of cool for readability. But isn't it more readable to say, like, you know, ship.take damage rather than, you know, ship.hp equals ship.hp minus 1? But at the same time, you know, if you have a method name, it kind of obscures what it's doing, right? Sometimes you don't want to obscure what it's doing. I don't know. I'm sorry. I had to drink a little bit of a shake there. Okay. So, now we have a bunch of bullshit happening. I think it's time... No Bebsy? No, we got my Bebsy cup here as well for water. Normally I wouldn't drink a shake during the stream because I have my camera on, but with the camera being off here, I'm trying to eat a little bit while I stream. So I have to wash it down with a little bit of Bebsy. Okay, so I'm kind of nervous. Because I feel like I should leave this server the way that it is. I want to save like a copy of this instead of, you know, overwriting it, because this is going to get changed dramatically and it's going to break real bad. Do I? Yeah, I do care. I care a lot. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close this. Right, I'm going to close this. And let's go and do some shit. I want to go here. Scripts. Battleship. Okay, so I want to rename Battleship server as Battleship server, you know, old. And let's copy this. And then paste it in here. And then rename this into Battleship server. So now we have a new Battleship server that doesn't overwrite the old code. Likewise, do the same thing for the client here. You know, we're going to copy this. We're going to paste it. We're going to call this Battleship server, or Battleship client old. I use Dropbox for my source control because I'm a horrible person. Yeah, same here, dude. I don't use Dropbox per se, but I'm not really... I should really get more competent at using like a source control platform. Usually I just, you know, just have one main... one main script that I edit, and then all my changes are lost. And between major version revisions, I'll like save a backup. I don't really have like any version control. I know, it's horrible. Okay, so now I can open up this new server here. All right. And I feel like I want the old server as well. I don't need the old client open. The old client is so damn simple. It's not even worth, you know, having open. So I'm going to edit this with Vim. So I'm going to need to look at this code, the old code, because this code here in the server, the old server, has the drawing logic for drawing the game in ASCII. So when I'm fixing the client up, I have to go look at that. All right. So let's see here. Now we can start playing around with this. We have the Battleship server, and then we have the old server down here. All right. So I have a Battleship player object. I don't need to have it be called Battleship player. It should just be called player. Here is what I'm a do. I'm going to destroy all of this. All right, I'm going to destroy all this and start over, and then leave the the server old open so I can refer to that and copy paste stuff that I need. Right. I know, Ryan, I use visual, so I'm not really good at using Vim. I use the V command a lot for things because I'm dumb. All right, so we know what we need, right? We need let's just do some stuff real quick. We need like we need a server. Let's start at the at the high level and work our way down, right? So we need like a player, and we need a game, and we need like inside that game we need like ships, right? Let's go like we need like a tile. We need a ship. We need a player, we need a game, we need a server at the lowest level. Alright, I think that's what we needed, right? As per my notes. Player, ship, tile, game, server. Oh, we need a message as well. That would be kind of a lower level thing. That would be up here right before the game, because the game deals with the messages. All right, so this is our skeleton here. So first of all, let's think about the tile, right? The tile basically, def init takes itself, and that's all it really needs to know, right? Well, if you're defining a tile, that's all that it really needs to know. Right. So that means it's going to have, self dot ship equals none. It starts with no ship. And self dot peg equals none. Doesn't have a peg either. The peg is going to be a string, though, potentially. It'll be a string that says hit or miss. And now we can say, def like receive fire self, and we can say if self dot ship, then self dot ship dot HP is self.ship.hp. I think you can do like minus equals in Python. I'm not totally sure about that. So it loses a little bit of health if it takes fire. And then, well, no. This is if ship, right? We don't want to do that if there's a ship there. We've already received fire before. So let's say, how about like if peg first of all, right? If self.peg, let's go like if not. No, let's just go if self.peg, right? If self.peg, then return some kind of error message, right? Let's just raise something. Let's raise something like, like repeat fire error, right? And I can find that up here. I keep a REPL open. Oh, you can use minus equal. Thank you, dude. What's REPL stand for? We need like a class repeat fire error that's based on exception. And then I think that's all you need to have for sure. I think I can just pass in there now. Read, evaluate, print loop. Read, evaluate, print loop. So wouldn't that just be like running pi by itself? If I go over here and I run pi, doesn't that let me do that? Maybe not. Shit, what the hell is this? Oh, here we go. That would be like, h equals 2, h minus equals 1, h is 1. Okay. Just a command line instance of the Python parser open. I think you can call it from a DOS window, yeah. I gotcha. That's cool, though. So REPL was probably called in the grander software engineering, space, because it's not always going to be pi, right? It's going to be some other tool for doing that. Okay, that's cool. Learn something new every day. That's why I love streaming, man. You always learn some new stuff. Okay, so let's see here. So now the peg receives fire. If there's it raises a repeat error. I think that ends. That's similar. That's like return, right? I think it stops execution if it does that. Sure, it will. So otherwise, if we have a ship, then we subtract the health, and our peg becomes hit, right? And then else self.peg equals miss. Then we return self.peg. Okay, kind of makes sense. Coolio. Now we have a ship. Let's get this ship's stuff out of the way. So we're going to def init the ship. The ship we established has a name, right? But we want to feed the name into the arguments here when we make the ship. So, I don't like having the name of the object be in the name of the variable. But at the same time, we can't just call it .name. I don't like calling things name either. It's usually protected in a lot of languages. So what's a good thing for a ship? What's a synonym for a name of a ship? There's got to be a synonym for that, right? Let's go look at that. Because I'm pedantic like that. Let's just say, synonym for name of a ship. Like a christening, is that what it's called? A christening? Christening, okay. It's a ceremony. Okay. Okay. It's named and launched. Python 3, clearly from the future. Yeah, I like Python 3. I used 2 for a very long time. I think Python 3 is mature enough now to use it. And it's got some pretty cool features that I like. So the christening is the name of the ceremony and an act. You can't call it a christening. You can't call a name a christening. Well, here's what I can do. I can just look up a synonym for name, huh? Since I'm on the dictionary anyway. What do we got here? Dude, I'm so pedantic. Why am I wasting my time with this? I should be programming. I know Ryan knows the struggle. What do we got here? Call it an alias. Again, that's kind of, I don't want to use alias either. What do we got here? A name. What is with this interface? It's not the interface I'm used to on the site. Title. Kind of like title. That kind of makes sense. Steve says, so after having to deal with the whack-ass recipes, I vetoed the project and made it simpler. What do you mean, Steve? What do you mean you vetoed the project? Do you have that kind of authority, homie? All right, this is like, where's my straight up old school list of, this UI is different. I just want a list of goddamn synonyms. Kind of like title, the ship's title. The wine called christening fluid, according to the internet. So you may be right. Yeah, I think that christening, like I said, is the name of the... Here we go. Here's what I wanted. Title, nickname, designation, appellation, term of handle, epithet, moniker. I think I was going to go with title. The ship has that title, right? The ship can have a title. Yeah, let's go with that. Such a fucking nerd. What am I doing? All right. An alias, yeah, an alias. My problem is that, again, alias has a lot of different, different meanings depending on what you're doing. Title is, I think, pretty straightforward. It tells you what you need to know. Mandate, HMS in the title. Steve says, I impressed upon them the ridiculous amount of work we needed to do if we stayed the same. Okay, I like that, Steve. Rule Britannia. Okay, so I'm going to go to the new server here. And every ship's going to have a title. Okay, and what else does it need? It needs to have a size in units. And it's going to not need HP, right? It's going to have to start off at full HP, so I feel like we have everything we want here. Where's my old server? What does this ship have? I think it just has those things, right? Name, it has a glyph back in the day, but we don't need the glyph anymore. Okay, I think it needs an ID. Right. No, we should just enforce upon the user that every ship have its own name. Its own unique name. That should be in the game rules. Okay, we can do that. The Schmallenboten is a subclass of Bodhi. The Schmallenboten. So now we're doing a savory and sweet cream puffs on a food truck. Oh my god. Steve, you convinced me of your food truck idea? That's hilarious. Not that it's a bad idea, but it's still funny to me. Alright, so it all needs is a title and a size for now. Right, it's going to say, self.title equals title, self.size equals size, and self.HP equals self.size. Very, very simple. That works. What do the players need? The Schmallenboten. Python's a very selfish language. Wow, Ryan, wow. I'll take that over fucking JavaScript, though. JS is a very this-ish language, and this, oh my god, fucking this, dude. Steve says, I want a storefront, but they said, if we're that small anyway, make it a truck. Really? Interesting. All right. So the player needs to have a, unique ID and a name. No. Let's enforce username. Everybody have their own username. It's gonna be unique, right? We'll use that for. No. I like UIDs. Fuck usernames. Usernames suck. UIDs, and then it'll also have a username. And then the players need to have. When you make a new player, we'll make a new field for them. How about that? They don't need to have a field as an argument. They don't need anything else, right? That's all they need on creation is a UID and a username. Let's see here. Where's my notes? Yeah, you don't need an ally field on startup. So I need a game. Yes. They should. Well, no, we don't need to supply games as an argument, right? Because a player cannot be playing a game. Maybe a player is just idling. Like when you log in, you should get a player object, right? Oops, I don't need a client here. When you log into the server, you should get a player object. You might not have chosen a game yet. So there should be some players that have no games, huh? Maybe you're not a player until you have chosen a game. That's more discreet. I like that more. Let's go with that. You have to have a game if you're going to be a player. You do a lot of planning up front. A valid approach. Yeah, it's valid. Of course, every approach has its own strengths and weaknesses, right? I can do a lot of planning up front, but at the same time, that's not a good way to get things done sometimes. Sometimes it's better to just go in ham. I kind of alternate between the two. I find in the past, if I do too much planning, then I never actually get to programming. Sometimes it's better to just go in and just hack everything together and make it look really ugly, but make it fucking work. All right, so the UID is going to be the UID. Username is going to be the username. And self.game is going to be the game. But how are we going to handle the board? Right, when does the board get made? Right now. I feel like the game should give the player a board, because the game might have different rules for like the shape and size of the board. But every player needs to have a board. Yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give the player a board, but it's going to be none. He doesn't have a board yet. And then we're going to have the game, at game start, give the players their boards. That's what we'll do. That way the game itself can choose the size and shape of the boards, give it to them, then we can get moving on. I think, yeah, that was my first, I asked that earlier, Ryan, if the board should control itself. I think that the player is going to control the board. That's what I think. The game gives the board to the player, but then the player controls the board. That's what I think. Of course, if you want to go back to my original server script, we'll have this Battleship server object that literally controls fucking everything. We could do that again, but let's not. That's why I'm rewriting this, because I really don't like this at all. I don't like it at all, but hey, it works pretty much. So I have this as like I can use that as my basis, right? I can go back to this code and copy paste things, but move them around between different objects. That way it's not all one big giant fucking object. All right. So this player object, he's got all this stuff going on. He's going to be able to fire on other players. That's what I want. So let's just give him like a, def fire on self, target player. And coordinate string. Do you need pixel art sprites? I could try to whip a few tiles up in graphics too. Dude, that'd be really nice of you to do, but not yet. I might say if you want to work together on this, we could do that in a future time when I have more to show for it. I don't want you to make some pixels and then never actually have me use it. Right now, I'm pretty fine with having it all be ASCII, but I do in the future want to have like a web-based version, which would be, it would require some graphics perhaps. That'd be very, very kind of you. But I won't hold you to it, of course. Coordinate string. So this fire on method is going to be a bitch. It's going to have to handle translation of a string to, a coordinate. It's going to have to do some parsing, basically. So, yeah, I'm actually going to have to annotate this real quick. Do some parsing, and then, affect a tile object. Return the tile object's new peg. Okay, that works. You could just use a comma in the middle and do two substrings. Oh, well, yeah, I already have, you haven't been paying attention, you haven't been to my previous streams of this, but yeah, I have a pretty nice code for parsing coordinates here. Where is it? Place ship, print map, fire on tile, translate chord to YX. Yeah, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. You just submit, like, J1 or B3 or whatever, and it coordinates, splits it up into X and Y's you can use in a two-dimensional array. Which what the board is a two-dimensional array of tiles now. Before it was of these stupid tuples, but now we're going to use a tile object, just to be more explicit. But yeah, your idea is pretty much what I did. I use substrings. Well, I use slices, right? Okay. So maybe I shouldn't be lazy. We should fill this in right now, huh? We should fill this in right fucking now. Fire on. So let's get our old code for translating coordinates. So I'm just going to go through this and do this number. So Ryan, how would you copy paste 3 lines in Vim? I just went visual and hit J a couple times and then, hit yank. But I'm not really a Vim power user. I would like to, over time, get better at it. All right. So here's our... so we got letter coordinate is... what? Oh, we have a coordinate map. Well, that should be handled by the game. The game has the map. Well, I don't know. No. Let's just assume we can always use the same kind of map. So, where is this coordinate map going to be? Letter coordinate map. Maybe there should be a board object, huh? You know what? Fuck it. We're going to make a fucking board object, dude. So we have ships. Now we're going to have a board. Because that way it can have its own map. We're going to have a static variable here. Letter coordinate map. I already have that all written out over here. In the old server. Where is it? Here. And the question was, how would you copy 3 lines in Vim? See what I do right here? Here's what I do. I go to the top line, hit V to go into visual mode. Then I hit J, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I do my, quotation mark plus Y to yank. It seems like a lot of work. Is there like a one line I can do to copy, 3 lines? To your knowledge. Since I have you here. Alright, so I'm going to just paste this now. Oh, I don't use Vim. I worship at the church. Oh, you do, Ryan. I didn't know that. You make fun of Emacs so much I assume that you were a Vim guy. But again, both Vim and Emacs have plenty to make fun of. Alright, so now we have this letter coordinate map. I like that. Real simple. You don't need to have this entire thing. You could just, count from A to J using some kind of, built-in character map in Python, but this is more explicit. Alright. And so now we can do some kind of algorithm for generating it, right? That actually kind of makes a lot of sense. We could have, like, rows and columns, and then it could automatically generate itself. So, oh man, my brain's starting to hurt. Let's go. I have to write some kind of loop to fill it in with empty for the new tiles, right? So that would be for row in range rows. Self dot field. We need to have a self dot field first, right? So we have to have a self dot field equals an empty list, right? So we would say, for each row. Programming on stream is so hard, Ryan. It's so embarrassing. Like, if you're off stream, you can just take all the time you want to think about stuff. But on stream, you have to always be talking. So it's kind of like, I feel bad. I feel real dumb. So we have an empty array, or empty list, excuse me. And for each row in the range, we want to make a new array of length columns, right? Excuse me, a new list. So that'd be self.field dot you append, I think, in Python. You append a new list, right? You want a list of tiles. So we want like some kind of generator. No, I'm not that great of a programmer. I'm a one-trick pony for a small set of 2D game genres. Well, dude, I still admire you very much. So I'd like to see you doing all this cool. So I watched that video you put up, last night. That was really fucking cool, man. Tell me about your game. Like, how does that work? It seemed to be like the enemy boss had all these nodes, and each node had a gun, and you could destroy each node individually. It's pretty crazy looking. All right, so I feel like I want to append, for every row, I want to append a new list that's of length columns. How do I generate a list that way? Well, here's what I can do. I can make a new list, right? And how do I make it? It'd be like, that would be tile for, no. That's not how you do that, right? That'd be, oh, I think, we'll just call this like, for row and row, we'll call this column equals a new empty list. Right, then we're going to say for column, you have to change that variable name, in range columns. Something's wrong here. I'm sorry. I'm real dumb. Yeah, each boss generates more pieces at the end of each level, but I plan to have some popcorn enemies between bosses to make it feel more complete. Yeah, I think probably a good idea, Ryan. Eric says, did you hide all the personal info this time? Yes, I did, Ryan. Thank you. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. So we want, we have an empty field for row in range rows. So it's just it's just incrementing, right? We don't even need to have a name here. We can just call this X, right? For X in range rows, or how about for I, right? It's just iterating through. Then we can say, row is an empty list, all right? And then we can say for, or how about for X plus for X and then for Y. For Y in range columns, you have a column. This doesn't seem right. Yeah, you don't have a column, you have a row. Yes, okay. So for Y in range columns, we want to say row dot append a new tile, right? The pretty sure that's how that works. And then we self dot field dot append row, I think. Usually my X is inside my Y loop. So Ryan, yeah, I've had a question with that. Like, I have that problem in my old script. I kind of got my Y and X confused, but I didn't really know how to make it work correctly. Let's just try it, because I want to do X, Y coordinates. So does that mean you have to have X on the inside? I don't know. For Y, yeah, because Y would be the rows. Y would be the rows going down. I don't know. No, Eric, of course not. No, my friend Pixel here, he's Ryan. Okay. So, is this even a fucking function? Is this even a method in Python? I forget. I think append is the thing, right? I want to go check out the sequence types. count, min, max, len, notes, whatever. There's an append method, right? Yes, append. Okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. All right, let's see here. I want this new server. Okay, so now I'm pretty sure this is what I want. You know, for every, we have this list of tiles now. Then we append the entire row to the field. Yeah, append should be good. It adds an object to the end of the list, yeah. You can always just leave their up open and test it there. That's a good idea, dude. You're right. I'm always like, does this work? Let me go check some documentation. So now we have this field, where the board has a field, and it generates itself. And it has this coordinate map as well. That's true of all boards. All right, that's an issue, right? If we're going to have a board object, hypothetically, I feel like it should have its own unique coordinate map. Not true of all boards. So why don't we just copy all this into the init function? Okay. Wow, I really fucked that up. Let's go right here and paste that. All right. We're gonna call this just letter coordinate map. Or how about just coordinate map? How about we call this, X coordinate map? Then we could also have a Y coordinate map too. And that would just be, 1, 0. Okay, that's a good idea, kind of. Kind of. Because on an actual board for Battleship, there's no 0. So if we're using an array, a list, we definitely want to translate this as well. I mean, might as well. Before I just use, y minus 1. This is a little bit more explicit. It's a little bit more clutter, but it is more explicit. I kind of like this. Let's do it this way. All right. I have this weird thing where whenever I type 7, I want to go to the Y key. Why is that? Not 7. I want. No, I messed that up. I'm a dum-dum. 7 should be 6. Wow. And 8 should be 7. Why is this on this row? What? Oh, I didn't indent far enough. I'm sorry. I like that. I like it like that. Now I want to make Battleship in the hell that is Emacs Lisp. Brute force placement of enemy boats, of course. Brute force that shit. 9 should be 8. 10 should be 9. And that's all that we need. All right. Emacs Lisp. All right, so now we got an X coordinate map and a Y coordinate map. All right. That kind of works, I guess. Now we have a whole thing of tiles. We have this whole array of tiles in self.field. I kind of like that. And we have this board object now that has this tiles in its own coordinate map. And now we can get rid of this. There we go. Okay, I kind of like that. That's kind of nice. Now this player, he's got this board. He fires on an enemy's board. So I don't need to what is this logic here? So now we have this, has to find the right coordinates, right? So the litter coordinate is going to go to, let's call this, you know, x coordinate equals self dot x coordinate map. It's the first part of the coordinate string. The first, but see, this ties into what Ryan said earlier. I've always assumed that the coordinate's going to always be a letter than a number, right? But with our new map system, it could be anything. You know, we could have a coordinate be, you know, orange steak, right? Orange steak, and that should translate. But if that's the case, we need some kind of, we need a comma in between. It's okay. We'll do a comma in between. Fine. So it means we need like a split, right? We need like a string split, not a slice anymore. So we need to do like coordinate map. Let's just split it then, right? We'll say, you know, in fact, we can split it before it even gets here. Let's just go with, you know, x. No, let's just extend the whole string. Right, so we're just going to call it chord string. That's fine. But for printing to the screen, you want to form your sentences first. Then you split them out in order. Well, not sentences, but rows, rather. Form your sentences first, then you split them out in order. But rows, I'm not sure I understand. I'll probably run into that problem later, then I'll be like, oh, wow. Ryan was right. Ryan was right. So the x-coordinate is going to be self to x.coordinate map. Let's actually call this chord map, not coordinate map. Fuck. That's way too long. I don't know what a chord is. All right, so we have this chord map. That's going to be, we have to make a split here, right? So that's going to be like x chord string and y chord str equals chord str dot split on the comma. All right, so now we have this, the x-coordinate is going to be the coordinate map of the x chord str. And the y chord is going to be the y chord. Oh, we're not going to be self, though. We need our board. It's okay. I can fix that. Y chord str. But it strikes me that when you do traditional... It's okay, we'll have the client translate that, right? In traditional Battleship, you give the... Well, I guess you give the x-coordinate first, right? Let me check out the Battleship board. Hang on. Battleship board. So you give the x first. X and then y. Even though y goes in reverse like you would normally expect, but it's whatever. That's fine. See, x is still first, though. All right. That's cool. Let's go back to the server here. Okay. All right, so we have the y-coordinate, the x-coordinate. And now we're going to be firing on this spot on the board. And it's not going to be self. We're going to use the self dot board x-coordinate. Well, no, it'd actually be enemies, you know, the player. So it'd be a target player dot board. Target player dot board x-coordinate. Target player dot board y-coordinate. Okay. And then, you know, once you have the coordinates, we want to get that tile, right? So then the target tile would be the target player's board at, you know, the x chord, y chord. Now this is where we're going to have problems, right? I always get mixed up which one's x and which one's y because of how my board was made. I think that's what Ryan was trying to tell me earlier. It's kind of hard to communicate via Twitch chat. But I think he's trying to tell me that my x and y are like mixed up. Wonder if Python offers something like PD curses for Windows. I don't think so. And they've got ncurses wrapper for Linux. Yeah, I think I used to use... Yeah, I think I've used curses a million times. I love curses, and that's why I'm not going to use it. I love curses so much, that's why I'm not going to use it, because so many of my projects have ended with me fucking around with curses. Because I can never get it perfect. I always want it to look better and better and better. My goal for this is to have a web-based interface. So for now, I'm just going to be happy using, print. We're going to print and we're going to, get input from the user. Yeah, we have curses here. But I'm definitely not going to be using curses because my end game is this is just a test. My current client is just a test, the text-based stuff. Ideally, I want to be run in a website, even though I know that that's not exactly your favorite thing. All right, so let's see here. Target tile. Okay, so we have the tile now. So we're going to fire on this tile now, right? So we have the tile that we want. It receives fire. That's what it does, right? Yeah, it receives fire. So I want to return target tile dot receive fire. Okay. And that might raise if there's an error. That's fine. I can deal with that later. Very simple. Just translate the coordinates real quick. Get the target tile. And has it receive fire. Okay. So that's pretty neat. So now we have this message class, right? And we know it's pretty simple here. We're just gonna, all it needs is a message type, right? Def init self. We need like message type. Then we're going to say self.message type equals message type. And then it's going to have a bunch of other random attributes. I'm not sure how to implement that. You can manipulate your own dictionary, but I think I'd rather not do that. I know you can do that. I've done it before. Every object in Python has its own dictionary associated with it. You can actually add and remove attributes like at a low level. Let's not fuck with that. Let's just do it, manually. Well, so that's fine for now. Now we have a game. All right. I thought of let's go to my notes here. Okay. Okay. So I've thought of a way to bridge the gap between the old, send and receive text client and the new, draw logic is built-in client. In the interim, why don't we just have the client receive a JSON message that, has a type of, print this string, and the payload is a string to print. Right. We can then easily change the nature of the message and the way that it's printed in the future. Okay, that makes sense to me. So we're not going to go totally away from our client. It's going to simply tell the client what to print. It's going to print it, right? Hypothetically, we can have sound effects too. We can actually have it like maybe system beep when there's a hit. How about that? That'd be kind of funny. right, so we have this server here now. Okay. So now we have this game, right? So let's give the game its attributes first of all. So def init, let's give it a self and its first player. No, it doesn't need. Let's give it no fucking players, dude. No players. Let's just make it self, right? Man, I love system beeps, but they've become unreliable. I know, Ryan. Not all fucking command prompts will system beep. It's so salty. Not all command prompts will fucking do it. All right, so let's go to our notes. What does the game need? It needs a number of players, right? It needs some queues. That works for me, dude. Let's go with that first of all. So first, let's give it some queues. So self dot, input message queue. How about input? I kind of like queue. And then we have a self.output message queue. Let's actually just be even more explicit and use the whole word message, because it's going to be these message objects, right? That'll make it more clear we're talking about these message objects, because they're literally called message. All right. And then it's going to have some players, right? Self.players is an empty list. It'd be great to orchestrate Ode to Joy with horrid system beeps as the game begins. Oh my god. But you can't pitch system beep, right? To my knowledge, they can't be pitched. Not without, I think the system, I'm talking about the bell character that I'm referring to, right? The bell character is just a beep. You can't pitch the bell. You would need some kind of library for manipulating a hypothetical internal speaker, which doesn't exist. There's a C library to change their note. Okay. Good old Slim Fast, man. Templar, I'm chugging it, dude. How's your day been, Templar? Alright, so we have this game now. It's got some players and some message queues. That's fucking great. That's real fucking great. So I feel like... Where's our fucking ship? Oh yeah, here's our ship up here, right? It's very simple. It has no methods of its own. Okay. So I kind of like this a lot more already. It's much cleaner so far, but it doesn't do jack shit. Isn't that just always the way of it? I love it. It looks so clean. It doesn't do jack shit, but look how fucking aesthetically pleasing it is. Alright, so we have this game, right? For now, we only have one kind of game. We have this fucking server. We're going to need to have a main loop as well for this. So let's just say, like, how does it go? If name is main, then do all this stuff here. There's a Bach? Get chugged, dude. Get chugged, you fucking Slim Fast. How you doing, Bach? Alright, cool. Cool. So we have this main loop now. Now, what's our old main loop look like? It means we have to make a server, then run it forever, right? That's the idea. Creating a server. Server is Battleship server. So we make the server, and then what happens? Does it automatically start running? That seems weird. While true, it has its own little loop here. I don't like that. Let's give it a run method, right? Let's go over here and fix our server, first of all. def init self pass. We're gonna have like a def, you know, run, or how about start self pass. Okay. And then we'll have like a def run self pass. And we'll just have, you know, it'll just say, you know, run self, excuse me, self.run when we start it. How about that? So how far are we coming? How far are we from floating turds shooting sweet corn at each other? You know, not that far. Our old version of the game ran halfway decently. I'm starting over again, using what we learned from that last one to make one that's more clean. Box, this is interesting. Excuse me. Getting shades of security videos from an X's past uni classes. Shades of securities videos from an X's past uni classes. Securities videos? I'm trying to understand, Bach. So I want to just, you know, if we're in main, just, you know, print, you know, creating server, and then, you know, we're going to say server dot start. That works. So where's our old server at? And that's kind of similar to how that code works. Yes. Okay. Simple. So when you start the server here, what does it fucking do with the old server? Let's just copy paste the code over and then fix it, because this is definitely not what I want anymore. Okay, I kind of like this. So our new server only handles networking logic. It doesn't handle any other whackness. So here's the server. It's going to init with all this shit. I don't want players anymore. Well, no, the server does have a list of players, right? That's connected users. So how about like self.connected users is an empty string for now. The game started is false. No, I don't want this anymore. Current turn, that's in the game now. Fuck that. Here we go. So networking stuff. Right, we get a socket. We start listening on the socket. We bind the socket. Then we listen. Okay. So it accepts connections. Prints off a new connection from so-and-so. Makes a client thread. What the hell is a client thread? I need, let's review what the hell a client thread's all about, huh? So we have this, what, like a... Client thread is a threading.thread. Oh, it makes play Battleship. Okay, so I think instead of that, we want to, you know, start the game, right? I start a new thread that the game runs in. So the game objects need to have like a start and a run as well. Right. So let's re-examine what we've got here. We have this game object, right? The game's going to have all its own rules and shit. So why don't we do like, you know, def run. Every game's going to have its own rules that start and run, right? When the game runs, it does all this stuff. Let's actually get rid of all this nonsense here. Just have like a run method here. Instead of having start and run, that's pretty... for our purposes, that's mad redundant. So the game has its own run, right? And when it runs... I don't know. Maybe when it starts, you should make a thread where it runs. Huh? Why don't we do it like that? Let's say def start you know, self. All it does is make its own thread where it runs. So that would be like, you know, threading.thread. What's the code? Where is it at? Target is a function with arguments. Okay. Okay. We don't need arguments though. We just need a target function for our purposes. So we're going to go back to our new server. We're going to say thread is going to be self.run. Easy. Easy. Just make a new thread where it runs. We have to name the thread, I guess. Or we can just actually put one-liner, right? We can use a one-liner, I think. I think you have to use, yes, start. Okay. So you take this thing you made and you start it. Let's get it started, ha. Let's get it started in here. There. Simple. Simple. So you make a new thread with the game's run method. And then you start that thread. That thread's going to run forever until the game's over. We can do the same thing for, you know, this server. So we can actually run more than one server here, hypothetically speaking. So we can say, you know, def start self. This is going to be threading.thread self.run start. Okay, simple. Simple. I like it. I love it. So for the server, let's say we have more than one server running. We actually have to make the give it its own host name and port, right? So we want like you know, host name and port. Let's go with host. Server, host, port. And we can say like, you know, socket bind. Well, we want to save that stuff, right? So that'd be like self.host equals host, self.port equals port. Then we can say, you know, socket bind host port. There you go. So we can actually run more than one server in its own thread. It's kind of nifty. So we want to move this code down to the run area. So let's do that. So run now. We're going to say print serving forever. You know, while true, we're going to get a connection and an address from our listen socket. Oh, we need to actually have that be saved now, though. No, it strikes me we don't need to. This should be in the run logic. So when we run now, we're going to say, you know, listen socket is a new socket. And we can bind that. Self.host, self.port. There we go. All right, we're getting somewhere now. Start it listening. There. Okay, so we can get rid of all this nonsense up here now. Box says, it was part of a comp sci degree. Security, hacking, prevention, things related to that. Sorry for slower, probably phone typing. I totally understand, Bach. No hard feelings. So, show the securities videos. Oh, I got you. So you and your ex watch these videos together, maybe. I got you. All right. So you're kind of getting reminded of that. All right, so now, while true, you know, we accept new connection. Easy. We can print off about it. We probably need to have a server name, though, right? Well, let's just say, you know, server at, you know, that. Can I do this now, I think, in Python 3? Self.host. Self.port. Actually, we can shorten this then. Received connection from, you know, that address. I can do that now. It's called an F string, right? It's a new thing in Python 6. I go up here and I put an F in front, I think. Like that. Oh, well, I have to break the line, I guess, huh? That's fine. That's fine, 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 whatever. Be that way, bitch. I think I can do that. Server name, Honey Boo Boo. Templar says, only you can prevent DDoS attacks. Smokey the Cyber Bear. Who doesn't cyber? But you don't know he don't cyber. You don't know he don't cyber. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I can do that. In fact, let's look that up. Well, hell no. Let's take Ryan's advice. Let's go over here and fucking do Python, right? Pi. You know, server name is Honey Boo Boo. And then we can say, you know, f string is f. Our server's name is server name f string. Oh my god. Yo, Python 3. Get it, dude. Get it, Python 3. That's so sick. F strings? God, it's so fucking handy. Alright, I can live with that. Alright. Cyber bears. Godless computing killing machines. Fuck them, dude. Fuck bears. Alright, so we've got this sick-ass F string. Oh my god, F strings. I actually want to put an extra space there. So we print off this bullshit. Now we need to start a new thread. So we're going to say, like, you know... no, we don't start. No, we don't start because now the game itself starts its own thread. The game starts its own thread now. So, oh, but we have this new shit going on, right? We have this new shit going on where we need to... we have to poll. We have to poll the user for input and then put that in the game's queue and shit. That's kind of crazy. What's up, Fly? We're running a new system here. We're going to be polling all the time and shit. It's going to be fucking crazy. The only thing keeping me from using 2.7, what keeping me using it is the library gap. It's nasty. Ryan, don't use fucking libraries, dude. Just write everything yourself, like me. And just spend a million years working on a project you're never going to finish because you're too stubborn to use another library. Can't you run Pygame in Python 3 now? Or maybe you can't. Maybe you can't yet. Make that user pole dance. How's that delayed reaction laugh? I didn't get the joke at first. So yeah, so now our server is doing some kind of whack shit, right? It's doing something new. Now the server's job is to constantly... it has to have a thread where it polls for user input. So yeah, it needs to have its own list of games, right? Connected users and self.games is its own list, right? So whenever we get a new game, it goes to this list of games. Yeah, Fly, this is going to be our own Battleship clone. We're going to make our version of Battleship, you know, the classic board game. I had it running last Friday when we streamed some game dev. But now I'm starting over from scratch and trying to make it much more elegant. The old one was really ugly. It worked, but it was mad ugly internally. It was kind of hard to manage it because there's so much bullshit going on in the code. This code is much more clean, but it don't do shit yet. I'm kind of trying to build... I have a plan. I have this notes file here I made. I wrote like a plan. And now I'm trying to file the plan into actually make some code out of it. So we have these objects in the game, right? We have these, these tiles, ships, the game boards... the players, the game itself, the game logic, and the server that handles connections. It's going to be an online Battleship. Maybe right, Ryan, yeah. Yeah, maybe Ryan, maybe a Battleship, excuse me. Maybe Pygame is only for 2.7. All right. So how am I going to implement this new system of constantly checking for user input right? We need like, it has this client thread where it's constantly, well, no, like we have this thing where we start and it makes a new thread where we listen for new clients, right? We're always waiting for new clients. I guess whenever it's waiting for clients, well, it waits to accept something, right? It's going to be its own thing. It's going to be blocking. This is blocking. So we need a thread where we accept, let's make a, we need a couple threads, right? We need a thread for like, def accept clients. Right? This is its own thread now. We're just always, all it does is accept new connections. Yeah, Ryan, trust me, but it's going to be JavaScript here in a little while. I hate to disappoint you. So we're going to write a web UI, and it's going to be, JS powered. But I'm trying to have as much logic as possible in Python, because I really hate JavaScript. All right, so this prints, we get a new connection, it prints off. Let's just, append it to our list of connections, right? So we have this, we need a new player, right? We have these player objects. What do they have? UIDs, usernames, games. So we need to get their UID, make a username for them, right? Since we have UIDs, we probably just need to have this be a map. Our user is going to be a map, like this, not like a list. It's going to be UIDs, and then, some kind of tuple. So we need to have a player first, though. These filthy player things, dude, fuck them. Fucking players, dude. Who needs them? Connection and an address. And a player for each UID. So I also want to have another object here. We're going to call it hi UID. It's going to start off at 0. Okay. So when we're accepting clients, right, we get a new connection. We have to oh man, my head hurts. Unwashed filth. We have to pull them, right, for their username, first of all. That's all we need, right, is our username at this point. Yes. And we can make a game for them. Okay. I can live with that. So we're going to say, like, we printed off this data. Okay, and we have play Battleship, right? But I want to not have play Battleship anymore. I want to just pull them right here for their name. But we can't wait here, because we can't wait for them to enter a name, a little block. So we have a new connection, and we have to make a new thing. We have to say, like, handle client, right? Handle client at connection and address. So, yeah, fine. Now we're going to handle the client, self.handle client at the connection and the address. Okay, and that's all I really need. I don't need to start a new thread yet for them, not here. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of all this shit. I'm going to leave run here, though, for now. Okay, so we have this accept client thread. That's fine. Let's go here. Now we're going to handle clients, right? at a certain connection and address. Some might say, don't hate the playa, hate the game. I say, just hate everything and everyone. The only way to be fair. Gonna self-handle the client. Day delete till after stream before I self-handle. Okay, so I want, we have this client, right? We want to get their username and shit, and then append them to our list of connected users. But only once we have, enough data to make them into a player. So we want to go over here and get our old prompt and stuff, because I'm lazy. We already wrote that code before. Play back 2 years ago. We want to, not sure why it's all in a try loop. I'm probably going to find out. I got the username string. Okay, that's fine. It's probably all I need. Oops. There. All right, so here's our new server again. Let's just paste the code. All right, I don't need to be this indented. Not sure why it was all in a try loop. I'll probably find out later when everything breaks. Oh, that's nothing. C++ is full of STDs, and you can also access private members. Oh, I forgot about that, private members. Only friend class? Gotta mix it up. All right, so now I have a username, right? So now I have enough to make a player. So here's what I'ma do. This is all good. Let's just say enter username. Very mechanical. Thanks for the follow. Ephemeral Sean. Pretty sick handle, dude. Welcome aboard. We're like a variety stream. We play all kinds of cool games in this channel. I don't usually do a lot of game dev here, only on Fridays right now. But it's kind of a nice change of pace, I think, compared to, say, playing Dark Souls or playing Tactics or Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Yeah, welcome, dude. You're always welcome here. In any case. All right, so we have this username string. That's great. Now we can make a player. So we can say, new player equals, it's a player, and it's going to have a UID first of all, right? I think that's its thing. It gets a UID, a username, and a game. We need a game first. It's fine. I can worry about that later. So player, its UID is going to be self.highUID. And its username is going to be username string. And then its game is going to be, self.onlyGame. We're gonna fix that later. Don't worry about that for now, guys. As far as I'm concerned, this is how normal people spend their Fridays. Watching Venka self-handle. Dude, not for free, man. Not for free. Not on Twitch. Catch me on Kick. All right, so we have this. So I'm going to go and add this only game. This only game object. In fact, let's not have a new object or a new attribute. Let's just say self.games0. We only have one game. It's in that spot in our games list. We'll add a way to make new games later. So that means we're making our game up here. We should just, literally just make a game. Like, self games, that's going to be game. There you go. We got a game. Only one game. No way to add games yet. Only have one game on our list for now. All right, so now we have, this player, and he has this game. That means we can now append this player to the game's, player list as well. So we're going to say, self.games0.players.append our new player. There. So now we have this player. He's part of this game. Tugboats. Oh my god. Hey, what's up, Decoy? How you doing, homie? I'm quite pleased with this so far, guys. I'm in a pretty good mood. It doesn't. It's kind of. It doesn't do anything, but it is so much nicer than the old code. So much nicer. So this game, it's got these players, right? We've added this player to the game. That's great. That's fucking great. But when do we start? Oh, I know. We can just add that code here for now. So we're going to say, like, if self.games0.players, if len, self.games players, you know, is 2, then we can start this fucking game. So that would be, you know, self.games 0.start. All right, okay, I can live with that. That works. Otherwise, don't do shit. Otherwise, you're done. Your job is fucking done. All right, so that's how you handle the client. All right, you get a new client, you ask him his name, get the name, make him into a player, send the player to the game, then maybe start the game if there's 2 guys already. But if you want to dirty it up, store the game board as a string and use regex to parse data out. Oh my god, Ryan, you're making jokes. That's how I do shit, dude. That's my fucking modus operandi. That's my modus operandi, dude. I have this obsession with regexes and like putting shit into strings I really shouldn't. That was my first idea for making the board work, was to have this board and then like have it have a character for every ship, and then a character for every peg, and then just have it parse out. But that's ridiculous, man. You're crazy, Ron. You're crazy. Agua. All right, so now with this game, right, it's going to start once it has 2 players. So that's cool. That's real cool. So let's go up here to the game. Well, when the game runs, right now we're going to only accept clients, right? That's our only thing we're doing. So let's just go with, when it runs, just accept clients. I missed some characters here. All right. So cool. All right, that's great. So it runs now. We're accepting clients. Awesome. So this should actually run now. This should actually work. This code is now runnable. It's probably not going to work because it's probably buggy as hell. But here's what we're going to do. We're just going to put a print statement here and say, game started. So here's what should happen. I should be able to run the server, and then run the client, and then it'll get asked for a name. I'll enter David. Run the other client. It'll ask for a name. I'll put in Splaved. And then we should get a message on the server saying, game started, and that's all we're going to get. That's all we're going to get for now. Let's see if we can do that. My guess is probably not going to work our first try, but hey. So I'm going to the name of our script is Battleship server.py. I know you guys can't see that, I'm sorry. So we missed some kind of error. Oh shit, these are all too far. That's fine, I'll have to fix that. It's going to be a pain in my dick, but it's a pain. Okay, I'm going to move all these windows over, guys. I apologize. I was trying to be economical with the space we have. But it's not going to work. So I want to grab this one. So I want to actually move Splaved down here. Come on, Splaved. All right, that's fine. Get David, move him like right around here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm fucking anal. I'm so pleased with it, but it doesn't do anything. Venka, self-handler bot. 2018. Well, if you do want to dirty it up, store the game. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a message there. Okay. I missed Templar's message. I thought I was further back than I actually was. All right. So we have this server. It doesn't work. It needs hosts and ports. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So I want to let the host be, local host, and the port's going to be 6666. Yes, Decoy, I am. Yeah, we're going to be doing this stream here until for another half an hour. Then we're going to play some Streets of Rage 1 on NetPlay. If anybody wants to play, you're totally welcome. I'm going to be playing Streets of Rage until midnight Eastern time. Then I'm going to call it a night so I can get some sleep for tomorrow. So yeah, kind of a short stream. About 2 hours shorter than usual. Get 2 hours more sleep. All right, let's see. Battleship. Let's try that again. Okay, well, so far so good. Let's try the client then. So pi Battleship client. Okay, so far so good. Even print off our message really nicely. Wasn't that cute? Set a port and also the starboard. Nautical nonsense is indeed something I wish. I read a really awesome nautical story recently from our friend Dick Sucker. So my name's going to be David, obviously. Boom. Nothing. Nobody crashed? All right, works for me for now. You know, pi, battleship, client, .py. Username, that works. Splavid. Boom. Oh, shit. It's probably fine. Threading's not defined. Bullshit, threading ain't defined. Sun, not defined threading. Oh, no. I just in reverse, right? It's supposed to be threading dot thread. Excuse me, like that, right? I got it in reverse. Let's double check how this works. Let's see here. Yeah, I got it in reverse. I got the caps reversed. All right, that's fine. I can live with that. I think it's going to work, though. I think we're doing pretty good. So run the server. Run our client, David. Username, David. Try it again here. Username, Splavid. Okay, maybe something crashed again. Yes. Oh, more threading. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a doofus. I gotta fix that typo somewhere else, too. Let's kill the clients. All right, so server. Where's this threading? Right, I have to do right here. All right, fix the caps. Anything else I missed? I don't think so. All right, cool beansos. Oh, it's supposed to be a thread right here too. Handle client, right? Because I don't want this to be blocked. So let's see here. Yeah, I want to just make this a thread real quick. So let's just do like threading.thread on that target there with arguments. Yeah, we need arguments here now. So that means like target equals that. And then we need like args, right? How does that work again? Is that args equals, you know, host con or con address, right? Is that how you do that? Let me go check on this one real quick. So it's cool you can do network code without involving a 600 megabyte RAM gobbling fat ass browser. Yeah, that's one of my specialties is network code. I have a lot of experience with it. I still suck at it. So I want some thread here. Yeah, args is the name of the keyword there. So let's go back to here. Make sure I got that right. Yes. So we got target, we got args, all as well. Let's break this line because it's quite long. There we go. Is that actually going to fit now, do you think? Yes. Okay, I like that more. Cute. Very, very cute. All right, so we have this handle client thing. It should be its own thread now. Hope that doesn't break anything. Let's see how we go here. All right, so we have the server. And we got this, boom, we got this client. No, something went wrong. All right, how can we get prompt for a username? Also, why do I have this? Oh, because it's prompt somewhere. Where is it? Oh, the client handles the prompt code. Okay. Yeah, I'm an 80 column man, yeah. I think I technically have 77 or 76, I think. Yeah, 76 to make room for these 4 characters over here. You know, the ones that show the line number. So this thread. Oh, but it doesn't run, never runs. The thread never runs. Okay, we have to call this like a, you know, client thread equals, or how about, you know, login thread is this. Break the line. Let me say login thread dot start. There we go. There's our problem. Okay, so this might work now. Make a new server. There we go. You're David. Let's try this again here. You're Splavid. Boom. Okay, now I bet you it says here game started, right? No! What have I done? What have I done? And handle client. Assert group is none. What? What are you talking about? Some kind of thread error. No clue what that means. Let's kill the server and kill the clients. And then examine this error. Alright, so what do we got here? Some kind of thread error. It doesn't like game start. It doesn't want to start the game correctly. Let's see here. And group argument must be none for now. So I feel like I should supply a target name, right? Let me go back to the new server. We have this target, right? Handle client. But how come this one runs fine then? Stuff.run start. This one doesn't want to work now. Length games 0 dot start. I mean, game 0 is just a game, right? It's just one of these things. But how come it doesn't want to work? Let me see here. It's at line 69. So that is the game start right up here. The game wants to start. But this code is the same as when the server starts. And it works fine. But here's what I'm going to do. Let's give it an explicit target. There. Now they all have explicit targets. I think it's trying to send that self to run as a group or something. The group is on fire. You're David. You're Splavid. Hey, the game got started. Okay, so yeah, it was some kind of weird error message with the the argument passing. But hey, coolio. So our game is started, even though it's not really. There is no game yet, but that means that our code doesn't crash. So that's progress, guys. So now we have, it seems to work pretty good. I'm pretty proud of that. Let's do our damn thing, do our thing, So let's see, we have this game now, and the game runs all it says is, game started. We get 2 connections, we start the game. That's great. In fact, let's adjust this code now to prevent a bug where more than 2 connect, right? So we have to say, if self.games 0.players is already 2, well, no, that's not good timing. That's a race condition. Let's put it down here. Let's just say, if it equals 2, do that. No, it's still a race condition. Threading is always so frustrating. You append a new player, right? I mean, I should probably put some kind of semaphore here. So I got a lock. I'm not gonna worry about that now. I'm gonna actually just put up here a note. Bug. If if players log in simultaneously. Game could have more than 2 players. Let's just go here and say, you know, fix with some kind of lock. So Ryan says, it would be cool if there was something like Google Docs where multiple people could work on source code at once while streaming. There is supposedly some Emacs mode to share a screen buffer. Maybe Vim has something similar. Yeah, I've considered that, dude. I've considered like cooperative programming. The issue is, of course, that when you do like Git or whatever, you have to commit an entire buffer at once. You can't both work on the same screen, basically. That would be cool, I agree, if you could work on the same screen. Work on the same code at the same time on a line-by-line basis. All right, so now we've got, works pretty well. I'm pretty proud of this. So we have another 20 minutes left. I want to start implementing some game logic. So we have this game, right? We have this fucking game. Can we just copy-paste all the code from this other thing we had? Let's go back to this old server. We have this play Battleship script, right? We have this map generation and all these rules running. We have a pre-game where we prompt for ship placement. Oh, this code is so disgusting. I'm so glad we're moving away from this code. So this pre-game, right? Let's get that implemented. So let's, copy this pre-game code where it prompts for ships. Well, where does it save each player's ships, though? We have this players append. Let's grab this code, right, for our game. Okay, so we go down here to the pre-game shit. That's fine. We're going to adapt our old code to our new server. In this case, into our new game logic. So we have this run function, right? Let's paste all this code right here. Okay, so we have a lot of this code can go bye-bye now. But not all of the code can go bye-bye. Let's figure out what code can go bye-bye. So we don't need to ask for a name anymore. I don't want to save this shit. But the allies do need maps, right? The players do need maps. Right, so this player, has an empty board, if I'm not mistaken. His board is none right now. We have to make a board for him with rows and columns. Okay, so when the game runs, we want to go through all the players and give them all a board. So, let's do that. For player in self.players, player.board equals board 1010. Okay, I like that. So now they all have boards. Great. Great. Don't need this logic anymore. Let's actually add that code down here. If length self.games 0 players is less than 2, send a message, right? Say con.sendAll waiting for second player. That's fine. And then we say else, you know, once we're there, start the game. Or, you know, elif length self.games 0.players does equal to, okay, then we start the game. All right, so now we have this waiting for second player message. I like that. So that kind of, we can get rid of that in the game now. So here's the game. Get a board. All right. So if player connection is not con, opponent equals player. Okay, so I'm trying to find out who the opponent player is. I don't need that anymore. This logic is different now. So what do we have here? We have a list of connected players, right? So when the game starts, we list all of our players. Let's just do that. So we do need a username string, right? Let's just do that. So let's go delete all this nonsense. Username string is a conjoinment, if that's a word, of both of our users' names. They have a username string, sure they do. All right, now I don't send connections anymore, right? I do not send any more connections. Now I raise messages. So I want to send a message to these guys, right? Telling them how many players are connected. So let's put that into our queue. That's how that works now, right? We're going to say self.output message queue dot append. Well, let's do this then, right? We need to say like, you know, connected players message is a new message. And its type is going to be, you know, print this. How about that? Or, you know, client prints this. How about that? Client prints this. That's our message type. And now we can say, you know, append, well, we want to say connected players message equals, you know, this nonsense. We use an F string, right? Connected players. Then we say like, you know, connected players. No, username strings, right? Usernames string. All right. You know, people really have no clue just how much work it is even to finish a simple game. Yeah, it's a lot of work, man, but it can be a lot of fun too. All right, so we have this message. It gets raised to the server. And the server is transparent, right? So we don't need client prints this. We just need print this because we're not going to. The game can't make the server print things, right? Or should we have the games control the server in some capacity? No. The games only talk to the client. How about that? Right. So let's just say called print this. That's our message type. We have this string we're going to print, right? So we're going to say, you know. Now we say, I'm doing something wrong here. Connected players string. No, how about connected players message dot str is what it wants to print, right? Or let's call it like to print. All right. Then we can, you know, do some line breaking here. Let's do it like this, actually. I'm a dumb. Like that. I like that. Maybe the F to be here, though. Not here. Okay, that works. So now I want to, instead of appending it, to the output message queue. Yes. Output message queue, append our connected players message. So now it becomes the server's job to send that message to the client. Right? That's what we're moving toward. All right. So now we have these turns going on. And I'm not sure what this is all about. So our game needs a current turn. Well, do I want to do it like that though? Have it be special like properties of the game itself? Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's just fine. Let's just say, self.current turn. Well, no. This is actually not. Let's do it, all here. Let's just say current turn equals, this player. Now we launch the pregame here. Okay, now I don't want to do that. We're not going to get that far yet. Probably not today, because we only have a couple more minutes left here. Here's what I want to do before the day ends. I want to have the server pull this game's output queue and flush it and send the data to the client. So every second, I want to look for new messages to send and then send them. But I have to go use a little boys' room, guys. I will be right back. I can't focus. I can't think when I gotta poop. But I'll be right back. So that I don't hit a button if he's not going to get hit by, if he doesn't dash into a roundhouse, right? I have to jump straight up and then parry. Like that.
You're doing a good job. You're not supposed to win this matchup. Like, you look at all the moves set, even on paper, it's a horrible
Jump and parry. Unless I'm going to hit him with something, then hit a button. Hey guys, sorry about the wait. I think we're back in business here. All right. So, yes, we want to send this message, right? So the server has to have a thread that's always checking the input and output buffers. Right? So our old server used to always have a listen thread and a sending thread, right? Something like that. Let me go check how that worked. Here's the old server, right? Whenever we get a new connection to do that, right? But it has like other things it would do. Like the Battleship game itself, right? That's how the old server used to work. I think let's go look for some threads, right? Generate map, place ship, pregame, print map, fire on tile, translate chord. Well, how did it... Okay, so it's got this thread here that this logic, this loop that waits for it to be our turn, and then it fires some shit. Okay, So while the current turn... Oh, I see. So it tries to see if it's our turn, then it sleeps. If not our turn, then sleep. Not our turn, then sleep. Heads up, Kay. While your name gets longer and longer, Kay. I'm doing pretty good, Kay. How you doing? Having a lot of fun here programming this game. It's about time to change games, though. We're going to change to Streets of Rage soon. But right now, I'm enjoying this. All right, what do we got here? Current turn, opponent. Then we wait. Now, in the old version, I guess each opponent had their own play Battleship, right? That's pretty fucking annoying. Makes things kind of confusing. So here's what we're going to do. We're receiving and we're sending data. Is that a duplex? Can we send while we're waiting to receive data on a socket? Let's assume that we can. Let's say it's a duplex. It's 4 a.m. Decided to drop in and say hi and see how you doing, dude. Glad you could stop by, man. You should probably sleep, though, homie. Yeah, but how you been keeping entertained, man, before you leave? Been playing any cool games lately or what? How's Monster Hunter going? I know you stopped playing Dark Souls, play Monster Hunter. You still into that, or you have moved on already? So now we need... we can accept clients. That's great. But now we need a thread to talk to each client. That'll be a handle client, right? So we get this thing going on where we have... we help make this game, right? We'll enter a username. Then we make a game for them. All right, that's fine. And then why don't we make some new threads, right? Make a thread for listening. No, for receiving from the client. And a thread for sending to the client. Kind of Bloodborne. So, okay, is that your first time playing Bloodborne? Or had you already played at that point? I know it went out for free, right? For all the PS Plus users. Probably first time playing then, huh? I want to copy all this stuff about, games, players. I want to go up here and put that in the game logic. Game started. Yeah, like that. All right, so if, length self.players... Or how about, while length self.players is less than 2, then we want to say, we'll say, let's just say like, waiting message equals waiting for second player. Then we'll say, well, actually that'll be, waiting string is that. But we'll say, waiting message is a new message of type print this. Then we can say, waiting message dot, to print, right? Waiting message dot to print equals that nonsense. Oh, we need to know which client we're printing to, though, huh? Yeah, we definitely do. So print this message. Well, a message, will that go to all clients? No, it probably shouldn't go to all clients, huh? So every message should have a target client, right? Every print message should anyway. I don't know. I'm kind of confused. So Kay says, yeah, it's pretty fun. I gotta say, great weapon choices and amazing PvE. Yeah, good night, Kay. You should tell me more about that later on. How far you are and what you think of it. Get a good rest, homie. So should messages no, I was gonna say, should they always require a client address? But no, they shouldn't. But the print message should. So we're going to say, let's make a function here, right? We're going to say def print to all players. Self, string. Message string. How about that? So we're going to say, for player in self.players, message equals message of type print this. Then we can say, well, here, why don't we call, we'll make a new message type, right? We'll just say class print message extends message def init self to print. And we also need a UID. Client, a player UID, then message to print, right? So self dot player UID equals player UID. Self dot to print equals to print. And then, we'll start off with super. I think that's how that works. Might be wrong. Init to print. How about that? So that's a little bit more clean, I feel like. We got a print message object. It has its own type, a UID, and a message to print. Now, this server is supposed to be a map of connected users, right? So we get this, we accept a client. We never did append that to our connected users. So I want to say, we have this player with a UID, right? A new player. He gets a game, the game gets the player, and then, I want to say, self.connected users, and then we get this self.high UID. And that's going to equal our new player. There we go. So now we get the server knows every player by their UID. We have to actually increment that now. So now self.high UID plus equals 1. Okay. All right. So this new kind of message type, right? This new message here, the print message type of message. That's great. So now we can just say, the message is a print message. And the UID to send to is players, UID. and the message is the message string. Very simple. Very simple. And then we can say, self.output message queue dot append our new message. There. So I can print to all players pretty easily. So now we can say, if the length of players is less than 2, then I want to print to all players. Self.print to all players. Waiting for second player. That's fine. That'll do. So I'm going to change this right now to say, oh, that's fine. Let's get rid of this. Okay. And if it does equal to, then we're fine. So I want to say, while that's true, do that, and then wait, right? Like time.sleep for, 2 seconds. I would say 2.5 seconds. Why not? It's going to keep printing that until we get 2 players. Then it's going to finally start. So now once the game finally starts, we can print off this to everybody. So I'm going to say, let's get rid of all this extra code we don't need here. So now the game is started, we get this board gets generated, right? These get their own board. That's cool. Actually, I print a message to everybody, right? We're going to say like self.print to all players, game start. All right, so they get their own boards. Let's see here. We have this username string. So now I can change this. We can make this a lot simpler now. We're going to say print to all players. F connected players. Usernames string. Like that. Say some lines of code there. All right, that works. So now we have this message queue that fills up with these print messages. And it becomes the server's job to actually send them to anybody. Now these ones have what they call a client UID, right? Or is that, no, it's a player UID, okay. All right. So now I want to have this thread that's always happening where we are checking for, def output messages, right? Or how about like send messages, self. And this thread, all it does is it checks all the games that it has running and all their output queues, and it deals with them. So for game in self.games, for message, well, can you like pop? Like, I think I want to do like while length game.output message queue. I think that empty lists read as 0 anyway. They read as false. I'm going to say while, there's an output queue. While output queue, then we send it to the client that it wants me to send it to. right? So we're going to say, I have an idea. Let's go up here real quick and create another variety of message, right? We're going to say class output message. It's going to have self, a message type, and a UID. Because every message is going to be output, it has to have a UID, always. We know that much. So we can actually say, it's going to be extending message. All right. So we're going to say, super init message type. Then we're going to say, self.player UID is the player UID. This can now extend output message. All right, so we can give it a type to print, and then a UID is going to be player UID. Okay. That works. So let's see here. So we want to go to the server and we want to say, send messages. So while there's messages in the queue, we can assume it has a UID now. So self.connected, was it players or clients? I call that. There's users, okay. Let's just call it players, because that's the name of our unit, right, of a single person. Connected players, all right. So we have a UID for them now, so we can say, while game up message queue. So where does pop take them from, the end or the front of the list? Let's double check here. I want to go to the built-in types. I want to go to a list, sequence types. And lists are mutable. Pop. So pop comes from where, though? 2. -1, so that's the last character. Okay, I got you. The last character is removed. That's fine. So let's go back to our code. The server. So I want to say, output message equals game.output message queue.pop. I'm going to say, take the players. Let's just pop at 0, right? Let's force it to start at the beginning. I like that. All right. And now we can say, well, we can get their connection from this, right? So we're going to say, like, player connection, player con equals subject connected players. Oh, well, I need to fix this, right? So we have this player list. We have a new player, sure. But I want to make a tuple. That would be the player and then their connection and their address. 3-part tuple. So now I can say, I want him at a certain UID. So output message dot player UID. Let's just say, player UID equals output message dot player UID. How about just UID? So we can say UID here, and then we want the the first slot in the tuple, or the second slot. That'd be in index 1. Now we have this connection, right? Now we can talk to this player. So now I want to convert some shit to JSON. We're going to import JSON in that case. All right. So I think there's a method called JSON.encode where we encode an object. Let's not worry about that yet, though. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So we're going to say playerCon dot sendAll. Then we want the entire message to be encoded, right? So that'd be like JSON encode the object, the output message. Right? And then we want to, yeah, that's the string now. We want to encode that into, UTF-8 or whatever. Let's make sure that's the actual code we want, though. I think it's JSON.encode to encode a string. Encode an object into a JSON string. Let's go to the library reference here. JSON. So you encode JSON. Oh, you dump S, excuse me. Okay, that's what you do, you dump S. Let me go double check that here. Basic usage, dump S here. I gotcha. Okay. Not encode. So we go to here, JSON, dump S, output message, and you encode it, you send it over the network. That's what you do. You pop it, you find out who it's for, and you send it. That works. And we have to run this every once in a while as its own thread. So send messages, we're going to say while true, right? Like, does it always send messages? No, it makes more sense. Just send it once. For game and stuff like games, you run through it, you send it all once. Now I want to make a thread where it does it every once in a while. So I can make a thread called, send messages forever. Right, so let's do that. Let's say, def send messages forever self. All I'm going to do is say while true self.send messages. And now when we're making our client, well, it's when we're making a new game, right? So we should do no, it should be right when we start running. Yeah, let's do that. So you send messages here, and then you say time.sleep, 2.5 seconds. Well, let's just say, interval. You send it at interval. Okay. So now when we start up, we accept clients, right? That should be a thread now. So when we start it, we do a new thread where we accept clients, right? Well, let's just go like threading dot thread target equals send messages forever args equals 2.5 start. Then we say, you know, threading.thread target equals accept clients. There you go. Then we start that. Good. Okay. So I have a thread that always is waiting for clients to show up. And we have a thread that's always sending messages. Okay. I like that. But I feel like that might work. We should see some JSON on our client for now. So let's get the server started here. Okay. Oh, okay. So I got a wrong thing here. I want to self.send. And I want self.accept clients. Okay. Okay. Let's try that. Let's get a client connected. David. Get another one connected here. Splavid. Now something crashed. I'll bet you. Okay, so I have a bad attribute name here. I changed connected users to connected players. I never fixed that for somewhere. Let's see here. Connected players. All right, that's fine. Here we go. Connected players. All right, so now we can do that. Let's run the server again. We'll actually kill these clients first. And then let's relaunch the server. Log in as David. Log in as Splavid. Okay, something crashed again. It's not JSON serializable. What? I thought all he did was just convert its dictionary into... I guess maybe not, huh? Well, then I need to make a dictionary instead. Not use... Because you can't send custom objects back and forth, only dictionaries. Well, okay. How do you make an object JSON serializable? I was kind of hoping this wouldn't be this complicated to solve. So I guess I don't know. Maybe we don't want a message type, right? We don't need this message class anymore. We just need a dictionary. We need a rule set, right? We need a rule set. So let's just get rid of all this shit for now. And instead, let's go to print to all players and change this code. So now our message is going to be a dictionary. Here's a boot camp. Yeah, behind the scenes action, dude. How's your day been, homie? So I want to make a new, just a new dictionary, like this. And I want it to say, you know, player UID equals, that's how you do a dictionary, right? I feel like that's not how you do that. You do it like this. So I want to do like this, actually. Player UID equals that. And then the, the message string equals that. And then I want the message type to be to print. There we go. Okay. Long as fudge, 14-hour workday. Why'd you work for 14 hours, bro? That's crazy. That's insane. That's like 2 full days in one day. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm trying to wrap this up here so I can play some Streets of Rage. Kind of behind, I guess. So I have this message type and this player UID. Okay, and a message string. Now we're going to go decode all this stuff, right? So we have to go back down here to where we're sending messages. Right, so UID is, now we don't want to do that. We want to do like this. Yeah. That's what we want. Okay. I think that should work now. Slave to the NYC Department of Education. 14-hour workday. Holy shit, man. I didn't know you were in New York City boot camp. Bach says, when I work, I do 10-hour days. 50, 60-hour weeks. God damn, Bach. But you say when you work, like you mean you're not always working? Maybe it's like a seasonal thing? Got the server now. Let's run this client. David. Let's run this client here. Splavid. Okay. Oh, hey, look at that. It works. Kind of. I only got one message. It's supposed to be more than one message, though. Where's my game? Did it crash? Oh, it crashed. Print to all players is not defined. Well, sure it is. I must have misspelled something. Oh, it might be send all. No, print to all players. What means not defined? Oh, I need self. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, where is it here? Here we go. There we go. So that should work now. So let's go look at the client then before I stop for tonight. I want to now import JSON in the client. So let's go up to, the client software and import JSON. So Booker doesn't live in the city. I work there, though. Okay, that's still pretty cool. Box says, well, I'm injured at the moment, so I'm using sick hours. I gotcha. Boy, sick hours. Kind of a drag. Can't get some kind of workers' comp? Yeah, I agree, boot camp. Yeah, people are always like, you're like, man, I'm fucking exhausted, man. They made me work for 50 hours. They're like, yeah, but that fucking, the overtime pay, though. You're like, shut the fuck up. You ever think that way, boot camp? Back when I was working in retail, I always felt that way. Yeah, but you're making a lot of overtime, though. Shut up, okay? I wanted pity. Give me some pity, for God's sake. The money is okay, I guess, but it's not worth the fucking pain. All right, let's see here. So, send forever, receive forever. Exactly, Vencabot. Shut the fuck up. God damn. Okay, let's see here. So I want to, receiving a JSON now. So I want to JSON decode the JSON string. How do I do that? Let's go back here. Load, okay, use load S. Okay, so load S. Go back to our code for the client. So receive forever. Now I want to just print off JSON.loadS receive string. How about, message equals JSON.loadS receive string. If message type equals to print, then print message to print. I think it's print this, right? I'm going to go check what our message name is here, our message type. So the game sends a message type of what? To print, okay. That has a message string. I gotcha. Okay. So if the message, we want to print off the message string, like that. Else, print unknown message type, message type. All right, so that should work, I think. Something in bootcamp needs that workers comp. I don't want to use workers comp so I can go in if I'm feeling like I can and I get paid more, as in I'm able to try for overtime. I got you, Bach. So he doesn't want to get workers comp. He wants to actually try and work every now and then if he can. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully I have a ton of sick time. It's a big liability with like an injured guy working there. I can see why they'd be kind of shifty about that. Let's go to our server here. We should be wrapping up for the night here. We're going to move on to some Streets of Rage 1 net play. If you guys want to play with me, there's ways you can do that. Let's see here. So I want to go to the server now and send data differently. I have to send it like when it's asking for a username. Here we go. So I want to say like handle client. Yeah. I want to say, you know, login message equals message type. It's going to be to print. And then the you know, message string is going to be enter username. Okay, let's break a line here. A little bit too long. That's fine. Now I just want to send it just a login message like in JSON. We're going to give it a fake UID as well. So we'll send like, you know, player UID -1. That works. Okay, so now I think our game should kind of work. I feel like actually I want to start this game up here. Self.games 0.start. All right, there's going to always be one game running. Okay, so I think this should kind of maybe work. Let's see what happens. Probably might just crash outright. Let's go to our clients and kill them real quick. All right. Launch the server. Seems to be working so far. Launch a client. No, something has failed. Has to actually encode. Oh, I have to make a string first, right? Okay, let's kill the server. I'm a doofus. Yeah, let's go back to the server here. All right, so I want to say json.dumps. json.dumps login message. That's what you encode. Okay, let's try that. That should work now. Alrighty. Hey, here we go. David. Splavid. Hey, look at that. It fucking works. That's a good place to stop for the day. Okay, so we have taken our code from last time. Our very, very ugly looking, sloppy, but working Battleship game. And we have started from scratch, reorganizing it into much more manageable pieces. Now we have the login working, and we have the actual, the internal design logic in a much more sensible, system. Much more sensible now. So that means that come next Friday, we can actually come back to this and get the game rules working again. That way we'll have a working version of Battleship in a much more manageable format than before. I'm looking forward to that. But for now, we're going to call it a night here for programming. Guys, as usual, if you enjoy hanging out, you want to keep the channel online, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Vencabot, where even $1 is a huge help, man. Put the talk in my belly every month. It's good for making the stream more sustainable in the long run. If you're like me, you're totally broke, though, right? You have not a whole lot of money in your pocket. Maybe you're working on and off. Maybe you're a student. Help for free in that case. Get in the chat, come say hi. Makes it more fun for everybody, especially me. You can also follow on Twitch for free. Tell your friends we're here and save clips of highlights you enjoy, like funny stuff, scary stuff, salty stuff. In programming, not so much, right? But I'm kind of like a variety streamer. I play a lot of games here, and on Fridays we're trying this whole programming thing. But yeah, normally there's like maybe some stuff you can, some stuff you can clip, highlights. It's good for my break screens, good for highlight reels on YouTube, it's good for social media like Twitter and Facebook. I stream for 40 hours every week, and it makes it hard to go through all that footage, and try to find the highlights. So if you guys save them for me in real time, it's a huge help. It goes a long way toward making the promotional stuff possible. Without those clips, man, the promos would not be possible. I put those on Facebook, by the way, and Twitter sometimes. I really appreciate the clips more than you realize. Check out my YouTube page, guys. I have all of my past streams archived there in 1080p, 60 frames, including more programming if you're into that kind of thing. But mostly it's like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and Bloodborne, and Neo. We have playlists for retros like Sonic the Hedgehog, Commander Keen, Metal Gear Solid, Nights into Dreams, Super Metroid, and more retros. We have other modern stuff like Dead Space and Evil Within if you like horror. Those are both blind. As well as AAA games like The Last of Us and GTA 5. We've got indies like Dropsy, Tokitori, 20XX, and Omega Strike, full playthroughs. And online games like GTA Online, me and my friends playing, as well as Dungeons & Dragons. My first time playing is archived on YouTube. And Fortnite Battle Royale. Me and my friends get Victory Royale my first time playing. It's kind of weird. Kind of like beginner's luck, I guess. I'm going to go a very short break here, guys, and get Streets of Rage set up. We're going to play Streets of Rage for another 2 hours, like 2.5 hours. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Classic retro game on the Sega Genesis, aka the Mega Drive. But yeah, programming is done for this week. I'll come back to this Battleship software on next Friday at the same time and see how that goes. But yeah, for now, it's going to be some more gaming content. I will see you guys very shortly with Streets of Rage. Cool beans, cool beans. Actually got stupid software working here. I mean, the game ain't playing yet. The game was playing last time, but that was mad sloppy code. This code is much nicer. So once we get the game working again, it's going to be great.
Netcode can do that stun, so it can make up for it.
Sick.
Oh, yo, mutant. He's been watching your videos, dude?
Wow. Okay, that was unbelievably sick.
Poor Tommy.
Wow. Was that? So that I don't hit a button if he's not going to get hit by, if he doesn't dash into a roundhouse, right? I have to jump straight up and then parry, like that.
You're doing a good job. You're not supposed to win this matchup. Like, you look at all the moves set, even on paper, it's a horrible
Jump and parry, unless I'm going to hit him with something, then hit a button.